Jason from Australian Opal Cutters, and I'm going to show you how to use our valuation software. So this is www.opalinfo.com.au. So if you go to opalinfo.com.au, opalinfo.com, it'll bring up this screen, and you've just got to start by setting up an account. You can do a free certificate first or set up your own account. You can register to get your first certificate for free, or you can come down to the bottom and actually sign up for one of the different various options that we've got available for certificates. But we've got an account, so we'll just log in straight away and it'll take us to this page. So this page gives you all the information you need to go through. If you want education, you can actually go back to the dashboard and do the education, which is back here. Actually, here at the top, you've got all of the education you need if you want to sort of understand what body tone is or what any of the elements are. There's a full education on the home page. It's just free to access. You just go in there and have a look at that. So I'll go into the dashboard and start a certificate. So here we have, we start a certificate right here, create new certificate. And why that's doing that. There it is, create a new certificate. So we start off, it brings up this first screen. So when we're understanding this is the variety, really the biggest element that affects this is the body tone. So even if you know it's a black opal from Lightning Ridge, and if it has a very light body tone, and we use this chart, I'll just try and open the chart on another tab. The body tone chart is here, and you can actually walk through this if you want while you're doing your certificate. So really you have to take your opal and you have to work out, when you just squint your eyes, where does it sort of sit in the tone. So you've got to sort of ignore the colour, ignore the pattern, ignore where you know it's from, and you're just looking at where to get the body tone. Now the best way to do that, if you really want to be exact, is to take a photo, put it in Photoshop, and then remove all the saturation, so it's just black and white. That'll give you a grey image, and it'll show you exactly what it is. So this one is N5, but the difference is this one's actually a bolder opal. So bolder opal is a little bit different because it doesn't matter what the body tone is, it's always going to be a bolder opal. But if I had a black opal from Lightning Ridge, but it was down here, it's a very light body tone, unfortunately, I've got to call it a light opal. Now, that's just the nature of this valuation system. Just follow the body tone and call it what the body tone tells you it is, except for bolder opal, which is always bolder, because bolder opal then brings up all the body tones, and when you go to body tone in bolder opal, you get to choose any of the elements. That's because bolder opal is a different type of opal to the black opal. So you get to do that. So we were N5, which is this one here. Now next one, this is where valuation becomes very subjective. Really the only way to do this is to look at lots of opals. Not average is average. Okay, most opals you see are going to be average or slightly bright or bright. Very bright to vivid is where you're talking about real top gems. Okay, so these are the ones that really stand out. You're fairly safe if you stay around slightly dull to average to slightly bright. So in this example, I will say it's slightly dull. With the transparency, really the transparency is just if you put it on a normal newspaper, looking from the top, can you read the news through the opal? Yes or no? If you can, it's transparent. If you can see a little bit of letters, it's translucent, but if you can't see anything through it, it's opaque. With the colour, we're looking at really all the colours, so any colour allows you to put it on the chart. So here we've got an opal that's really just green. I can't see any other colours, so I'm just going to call it green. But even if it had a fleck of orange, I'd put green orange. Now tones. Tone is different to the brilliance. Think of tone as you would think of the paint on the outside of your house. So when you paint your nice green house, let's say you painted it a rich, vivid green 30 years ago. That would be deep, rich tones. It's really bright, it's really vibrant, it looks great. Then over the years, the paint fades and becomes a little bit duller, a little bit less clear, until 20 years later, that green has become a normal tone, okay? What I'm looking for is how green is green, how red is red, how blue is blue. And the tone really means, if you think of it as a colour, how rich and saturated and bright is that colour, okay? And really that, you could sort of do a lot of work looking at tones, but the best analogy is when you see paint fade. That's the one that really helps you work this one out. If you look at an opal and it looks like the brightest texture colours that have ever been put together, then it's obviously deep and rich. If it looks rather sort of muted and the reds are more pinks or faded, they just don't have that vibrancy. That's what tone and hue is all about. It's not brilliance, it's the saturation of the colour. How red is the red? So on the next one, we go into the shape. Shape is very, very easy. Free shape and Baroque. Baroque is more a carved for really hand-carved outline, but most opals are either going to be oval or free, but you've got the other options there for very long oval and etc. Now with the cabochon, this is fairly self-explanatory. It starts with a flat face. You look at the side, you've got a low cabochon. Most opals are going to be low or medium cabochon. Very few will be high or too high, and pretty much 99% of opals in the bolder opal category are going to have a Baroque face. So we select that. And then this is just the field of origin. So we know that all the boulders come from Queensland in this example. But here you've got, you can put unknown. If you put unknown, it'll fairly just reflect a South Australian valuation category, and Amuka and South Australia value the same. Lightning Ridge does value higher than all the rest. Most opals you're going to find are going to be mixed or regular pattern. This little example I've got here is a pinfire pattern. You can do your own test to sort of see how the values change it, but named patterns, the value that's placed on this category here will be the same for all of these name patterns. So anything from skin to skin, smoke black, snake skin, all of these name patterns have exactly the same value as this is selecting named pattern here. Rare named pattern, now that has to be really striking for you to select. Now if you want to know what it should look like, there are some examples, and that goes throughout all of this software actually. If you click any of these buttons, there should be photo libraries to sort of show you what's available. I'll just get past that. So yeah, with the name pattern, let me just get on there. So if I go blocky pattern, for example, I've got a bunch of photos that show me, okay, that's blocky. And the same thing should apply for broad flash pattern. Here's a whole bunch of photos that show me, okay, that's what a broad flash looks like. So even with this, you can see that broad flash it's not like the whole big plate of colour flashes across the opal. It just means you get that rolling flash right across the opal. Now, understanding patterns is probably, you really have to deep dive into it. Okay, and I'll just do a quick run through. So blocky pattern is a lot more valuable than just a regular pattern, and it's where these blocks of colour can often look like a mixed or regular, but anything with big blocks is very, very, very rare. So blocky pattern is a great pattern. Broad blocky pattern, now this is, probably need some better photos, but very large blocks of colour, okay, to give it a broad blocky. That definitely needs some better So broad flash, now this is where you get big flashes that are, 1/3 to 1/2 the size of the opal. Now these should probably be videos more than photos, but in the real thing, if you looked at this, that would be flash right across the whole opal. This would be a flash that rolls through the pattern, and a broad flash can be a flash that rolls through pattern, and that's quite common to have flashes that roll through patterns. If we go into This one here, mossy pattern. Mossy pattern is like pinfire, but it's more subtle. You get this. This is definitely actually a mossy pattern. It's very much like pinfire, but you get this little. It literally looks like moss flying over the rock. A lot more subdued. Pinfires. I think this software values pinfire a little bit less than it should, because this has been 20 years in development, so a lot of the values historically for pinfire were a lot lower than they are today, and pinfire today I think is actually high. So just be aware of that. If you pick pinfire, just check the difference between pinfire and named pattern. That's on my to-do list as well. So rare name pattern, as I said, is going to be one of these really big hero gemstones. Genuine Harlequin, of course, has got to be no photos, only because they're so rare it's hard to find them, but I will update that with some photos. What else have we got? Sheen pattern. So you got sheen pattern, looks very metallic. It's very much like a mossy pattern, but it has a metallic edge to it. And look, there's just so many, but you can go through, and there's some images that still need to be uploaded to this, which I will have to get the guys to do. So that's how you go through patterns, but there is a great pattern chart which you can request from us, and we've got access to, that I'll put as a link in this video, and it really just does define opal patterns. And really these are incredible images. Actually, what I'll do is I'll actually upload this into that pattern as a guide, so each of these as photos in that, because these are all examples of rolling flash. You've got star flash, which is a variant of pinfire, which is a variant similar to galaxy pattern. They're all here. Chaff pattern, where the colours are more bricks broken up. Floral, where it gets more uniformity. So look at this is where it gets confusing. Look at how similar pinfire is to floral. Look at that. Pinfire up here, floral down here. Floral is literally like a field of flowers. Pinfire is literally a field of pin spots, but they look so similar. It's bigger patterns. And then you move into other things like clover leaf, patchwork, honeycomb, jigsaw. Sometimes jigsaw can be really close to floral. They actually cross over sometimes. Jigsaw is where it actually becomes little jigsaw pieces. And look at moss pattern. Look how close moss pattern is to a green pinfire. So similar, but the pinfires are more organic. They're spread out like little bits of grass. The sheen is very, very metallic. Now, look, it's not the end of the world if you call one opal a name, and it's not like if you call a fern pattern a bamboo leaf or a feather or a steer. You get them mixed up a little bit, because they're all in that element of very, very high value. So pattern is something that you just learn. I think the general rule is just calling something a mixed pattern or a name pattern. They're the two simple categories that cover everything. If you're confident and you want to go further, then go further. But mixed and named are the two big ones. They're the two big ones that cover it all off, okay? So we're going to just actually call this one sheen, because it has got a little, moss pattern. We'll call it moss. Now, good from all angles. You spin your opal 90 degrees, and wherever it's dull or flat, you're literally holding your opal, you look at it, and then you turn it, look at it again, turn it, look at it again. Now, a lot of opals go flat on one axis. A lot of opals, when they're on one plane, will just go dull. It affects value a lot. Okay, so it's really important that you put... Now, this opal, because I've put the characteristics of dull, low colour, I don't then have to hit it even further and make it less valuable by putting, it's weak on all angles. So I've already done that. You've got to remember when you value something, and this will come up in the next one. So I'm going to put good from all angles, because it's dull from all angles. It's not saturated, it's average colour from all angles. It's not really, you know what I mean? If I had put brilliant, though, and one of the angles was dull, then I've got to put this. I've got to knock it down from the angles. You see how that works? You don't double criticise an opal. I'll show you what that means in this, okay? So this is a great example. Color distribution. This opal's got over 80%, especially in bolder opal. Now, this is what I'm talking about. If I had a bolder opal, and this is a bolder, but it's got over 80%, but imagine if it only had, all this ironstone through it, okay? So I select 60 to 69%. Pretend I select this one here. Then I go to inclusions. Now, it's really tempting then to go, oh, there are inclusions. So you put, 20% of face like this. No. You've already determined that the ironstone's in the surface. You don't hit it again, because then you're actually giving it two characteristics of lowering the value. It's really important to choose, and this is hard to work out, believe me. It is hard because, literally that's a bolder opal, and over here you've got a bolder opal with effectively the same thing, but that's where the knowledge of the valuer has to come in. You've got to work out, okay, how much color covers the face, and then how many inclusions are there, and you've just got to decide where you're going to put the ironstone in. You can put it in either, doesn't matter, okay? Fortunately, in this case of this bolder, the color covers the whole face, and I can't see any inclusions. So inclusions, literally, you look at the opal, you should be able to see it for it to actually be visible, okay? And then you just use common sense to work out how much of the face. So this 5% is for a crack that runs up through, about there. 10% would be a bigger crack, and then it just goes on and on, okay? And then finally, you're going to enter your carat weight, which in this example is 2.46 carats. Our markup, now the markup really is, you can see the different parameters, and I don't like to advertise what the percentages are because I don't want to sort of reverse engineer our software, but you can see the difference if you click any of these. Typically normal retail price, this is the retail price in a retail store, a brand name retail store. It's a place where you actually have, a high-end display. You've got packaging, you've got branding, you've got possibly set in a piece of jewelry, but it's a place where you go in and pay the full retail price, okay? Then it goes right through down to forced sale, and these are all just different elements that will reduce the value right down to forced sale, which is really just, the cash price that you'd want to get for it if you had to sell it today, which is going to be a lot lower. Currency conversion is just, if you're going to use US dollars, you write your conversion rate there and you evaluate the value. So, and then here, you just hit valuation assessment for the opal, or you can do manual entry. Now, no software is perfect, okay? So if I knew that I couldn't, in this example, it's just an example, you don't need to see the opal, but I know there's no way I could even buy this from the miner for that price. It's undervalued even at retail, and that happens just by the nature of opal. So I would put something rather higher on this as an example, and let's just make something up. Let's just say I thought it was worth $1,000, and then I just calculate 2.46 into 1,000, or $350 a carat, whatever it is, but you just put the elements in there, and then you just give it a name. I'll just call it test 1. Okay, and I save the certificate. Now what happens now is I can go into this certificate. You can just do a quick view if you need to, or you can generate a PDF. Now at this point, I can actually scroll back, and I can actually change parameters still, because I haven't actually gone out of this certificate, so I've still got the luxury of being able to cycle back. Once I start again, I'll lose that ability to go back and forwards and edit this. I'd have to start the whole certificate again. So generating PDF is simply a thing of selecting the date, typing in the name, which I like to just call the type of opal, Australian Opal Cutters. I pop our logo on there I just keep a logo on hand, nice and handy. I just keep a logo on file to pop in there. And then now opal image. Now with the opal image, it does need to be a square image. So any square format image, 1:1, will upload. but there are some problems with some of the formatting that have been very difficult to fix. So what I like to do is just save the certificate, and then I just basically open up a like a PDF editor, and I just add the photo. So I just drag and drop the photo onto there, and there it is. So you've got all of the elements. It'll print it out with the different parameters you've selected, so it explains it, and that's ready to go. So that's how we do our Opal valuations. So please let us know if you've got any questions or if you'd like any help doing valuations, and we'll put a link there. If you want us to do valuation for you, we'll put a link to the video. Thanks for watching.